Hello guys, Joe with BitRaged. So the price of Bitcoin has kind of been grinding down a little bit. We haven't seen big moves like we're used to. And so I want to talk about this and give you guys an idea of what's going on in the market, because I think a lot of people don't understand. The market can only be in one of two states at any given time. It's either in an impulsive state or a corrective state. So what I mean by that is we're either seeing this kind of action or we're seeing this kind of action. So this was a big impulsive move. We're simply seeing the corrective move following that. And this is true for any market. You go to Forex, we're either in an impulsive move or a corrective move. Now you may be looking at longer time frames to draw that out, but you're in one of two states. So that said, we haven't really seen a panic yet for Bitcoin. So just look at what happened here. We got to 20,000, we saw a big panic. We jumped back up, we saw another big panic, another big panic. And then we saw this run up, followed by a panic, a little bit of a panic, and then consolidation. And what nobody is talking about is we haven't seen a real panic yet. So some people are saying that that means the weak hands have been shaken out of the market. And so now we're just left with intelligent investors. Now you are losing quite a few weak hands, you could say, in the rundown. You're losing a ton of people that aren't in this market willing to work. They just wanted a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not it, so they're out. But it's important to realize we haven't really seen that panic yet. So what that means is we could be gearing up to see that. So for instance, we're consolidating here. Are we consolidating building support, or are we seeing a continuation pattern? If you look back here in the chart, you see patterns like this. That's a continuation pattern. Patterns like this. That's a continuation pattern. So coming down, it's very similar. You see this move, then you see consolidation, but we're yet to see that panic. And so following this consolidation, we could see that panic move. That huge corrective move that we're used to seeing with Bitcoin. So if that happens, we do have support on the way down. But the question is, when you get into a panic state, we've seen here that you can lose a lot of ground really quickly. So the other thing worth noting and worth mentioning is that the price of Bitcoin has been falling in a channel, and we're seeing a squeeze. We're seeing a compression of price. So we tried to move up a little bit here, moved outside of the channel, came back inside of it, reintegrated with the channel. But we are seeing price move to a point where it would be a lot more reasonable to see that panic come into play. So we could see a move down into here and then see that panic take off because of the compression of price. So what I'm telling you guys is that we're yet to see a real panic like this, and like this here, like this, like we're used to. We're yet to see that, and we're kind of just grinding down very slowly. Just look at these candles here. These are 4-hour candles. 4 hours where literally nothing is going on. And the volume is very low, and that's part of it. But we're just dealing in a state where people are very afraid to sell, and people are very afraid to buy, because if they buy, maybe it'll go lower. If they sell, maybe it'll go higher. And you're in this very weird state where the market is kind of doing very little. So we could be gearing up for support, and we do have support right down in here at about 5,500. We could be gearing up to build support there, go higher. Or we could see that panic that we're used to seeing, and this could all just be a continuation pattern. Which, if you look at the bigger picture, you go down to a week, we're very early into this correction anyways. This is a huge impulsive move. This is a huge bullish move. So we're very early into this correction anyways. So we could easily see that panic pick up again. So we got a question, and somebody asked about hyperwave and wave theory. The thing with waves is that it's best seen in hindsight. It's a lot easier to see the wave in practice in hindsight than it is to predict that happening in the future. And it's very easy to abuse it. So I don't go in too much with wave theory, and we're not going to talk about it on the channel here simply because it's complicated and very inaccurate if the person applying it doesn't know what they're doing. And even if they do know what they're doing, it's a lot easier to apply that in hindsight than it is to see it happening in the future. So my point is very simply that we don't have the support at the current time to make a bullish move, and we're not seeing the real bearish push yet, and we're not seeing that panic yet. So I would watch for that. If we break support here, and I mean really break it, we could see that panic come back in and take us quite a bit lower. And this could play out as a continuation pattern, which if you do some research on it, it's looking pretty good for that. So there's a couple options. We could build support and go higher, but we don't have a lot of support in the market to make that move. Or we could see the panic come back into play, and since we haven't really seen that yet, we haven't seen the panic that we're used to seeing with Bitcoin, I think that is also a plausible scenario that you need to keep in mind, you need to watch for. But this is not a market you want to trade at this point. We're just simply not doing much at all. And so I'm not trading this market. I'm actually trading Forex right now and putting a lot more of my time into that simply because it's consistent. And right now the market's not doing a whole lot for me to trade. So I've been putting my time into a more consistent means. So those are my thoughts for today. We haven't really seen that panic yet, and as we've seen in the past with Bitcoin, that panic happens when we break support. So if we do break down below support, we're likely to see that panic come back into play and push us lower. So that's what you want to watch for. But that's going to do it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care now.